Niners, Thursday Night Football, beat the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle, not too far from where I am right now. So it was nice. It was nice seeing all the Seahawks fans after the game and getting to rub it in their face. And yeah. What do you think about the game, though?
For the Niners, it was a great win, right? You're 3-3 on the season now. You finally beat a divisional opponent, right? You're first place in the division. I mean, so all that's great. But again, for the Niners, I just feel like it was a good win, but like I don't think they played all that great, right? They still defensively they still let up 350 yards to Geno Smith, right? They did force 2 turnovers from Geno Smith, but like I feel like the Seahawks were one less turnover away from winning that game, right? They also did get beat deep by DK. I mean, they ended up getting called back, but that would have kept them in the game. But I would say that for the Niners defense, they did a really, really, really good job against Kenneth Walker. That running, I think he was that running game. They only let up he was averaging like 1.4 yards a carry or something, or like one or 2 yards a carry, which is really, really good. But I mean, they let up 300 yards passing. Aside from that, I mean, offensively, I mean, you can't really get too mad at the offense for scoring field goals when they put up 36 yards. But at the same time, they did have 3 field goals in the first half and 1 touchdown. But in the second half, they came out and scored 3 touchdowns, right? In the first half, the one to DK Metcalf. I mean, come on, a 76-yard when that safety should have made that tackle.
I will say though, it is. I kind of didn't think it was as good at first. It was kind of a nice play by Debo. I feel like I didn't give him much credit for that play at all at first, but after watching it back a little bit more and kind of thinking about it, I will say the fact that what made that play was the fact that he put his foot in the ground, and because the ball was kind of thrown in, it was in the air for a while, he put his foot in the ground and came back really hard to the ball to the point where the safety had his target of where he was trying to aim to hit him, but Debo had come back to the ball very quickly and kind of broken arm tackle because of that. So I will say that was a pretty good play by Debo.
That safety should have absolutely decleated Debo right there.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say decleat, but I would say he should have made the tackle.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like Debo did do something he should have been tackled. The safety definitely should have tackled him, but I will say I think it was a good play by Debo too.
I mean, for the Niners ended up working out, right? A 76-yard touchdown after 2 field goals, so it was good for them. But at the same time, I mean, I'll go back and say it was a great win for the Niners, but I'm not that impressed. I feel like they could have played way better. They also did let up a 97-yard kick return touchdown. In my opinion, the game was almost done at that point, right? And then he scores that, and now it's a 23-10 game. Seahawks have all the life in the world that they want. It's just like little mistakes like that from the Niners that really let, or 2 games, I guess, since the 2 divisional.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it just a lot of time they just let teams hang in the game. They play good for stretches of the game, and then they make mistakes and they let the team back in, and sometimes they lose those games. It kind of almost starting to feel like the Chiefs from last year during the regular season, where they might not be as good of a team on defense, but they're probably a better team on offense than that team was. It's just the overall letting teams hang around, and sometimes it comes back and bites you. I don't know if they'll be able to, if this keeps going on, I don't know if they'll be able to come back from it like the Chiefs were able to, but yeah, I mean, like you said, just a bunch of mistakes that the team made. It was nice to see the 2 rookies get on the field. I feel like I mentioned a couple of them on the podcast last week. Malik Mustafa interception, Renardo Green interception, so it was nice to see them play together. It'd be nice to see Renardo, Mooney, and Lenore on the field at the same time. I think those are probably the 3 best corners for this team. Secondary looks good. Linebackers still, I think D Winters played a little bit. Actually, to be honest, I don't remember if D Winters played as much in this game as the previous game, but as always, we're waiting for someone to take Devondre Campbell's job. So, and then defensive line still, I think Nick Bosa had a great game. Outside of that, like we've been saying, could be better. And I think that's where the defense is going to need to get better at if it wants to become an elite defense like it was before. It looks like the secondary is shaping up with a lot of the young players, and so that's a good sign. But like you said, I mean, I think if they didn't get those 2 interceptions, I mean, both of those drives, like they had a couple of passes prior to the interceptions, and especially that last drive, it feels like if they didn't get an interception, they might have gone down and lost the game. I mean, I feel like people forget, even I forget, like the Niners were in danger of losing that game on that last drive. So, I mean, they played a better game and they ended up winning it, and they ended up winning by a good amount, but it doesn't take away from the fact they had that long run by Isaac Rendo at the end, but it doesn't take away from the fact that if you really look at it, I feel like a lot of the same issues were there. They didn't score in the red zone a whole lot. Brock Purdy played really well, I thought, though. I mean, he used his legs a ton to extend, to get first downs. He made some good plays in the red zone, made some good passes, but they could have scored in the red zone a lot more. And on top of that, they had a special teams breakdown.
Yeah. Aside from Demo, who had 100 yards, 102 yards, I think, and 76 yards from one big touchdown, no receiver hit above 58 yards. And the 58 yards came from George Kittle, too.
Why do you think that was? I feel like they were able to run the ball really well.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Brock Purdy threw for 250, and so he spread the ball. I feel like he spread the ball a good amount. He got the ball. He got, I think, at least 2 catches to Ayuk, Kittle, Jennings was involved, and Debo obviously had the bigger game out of all of them. So I'm not too worried about none of the receivers having a big game, because at the end of the day, Brock Purdy was just able to spread the ball around to all of his receivers. And it was a good game. I thought he played a really good game overall. So that's encouraging to see from Brock Purdy. I think the offense is only going to start clicking a little bit more. Ricky Pearsall is coming back, so I'm excited to see what he's going to do for this team. I think the offense is only going to get better. Brock Purdy's only going to get better. And so, at this point, the Niners just have to clean up that red zone stuff, stop making mistakes in special teams and on defense. I think they're slowly getting better and better as they get some of their rookies involved and some of their younger guys involved, even on the D-line, and hopefully get Dre Greenlaw back. Nick Sorensen gets a hang of the defensive coordinator a lot better. People forget a lot, like Robert Saleh and D'Amico Ryans, their first handful of games weren't perfect either. They were giving up points too. So things are getting kind of on track, but at the end of the day, it was one game against the Seahawks. So
heading into this week, they're playing the Chiefs now. It's going to be a great game for them.
That is going to be a great game. The Niners, it's going to be basically 2018. Niners versus the Chiefs and Kareem Hunt. Mahomes and Kareem Hunt. What do you think about that game, though?
It's going to be a good game, right? Anytime the Niners and the Chiefs play, right, I feel like it's usually a good game for Patrick Mahomes, right?
I mean, he's had a couple interceptions in some of the games he's played against the Niners, though.
Yeah. But I've been thinking about this game for a little bit, and it just feels like it's like the Niners' year to beat them, right? They're not as great. The Chiefs aren't like all that great either. I feel like the Niners could come through with it this week.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, off the top of my head, that's 4 times in a row. So Super Bowl last year, 2 years ago, regular season, Super Bowl in 2019, and then regular season in 2018. And all 4 of those games, the Chiefs won. So, I mean, like, come on, we're due. So we're due to beat them.
I would like to see that offense against the Chiefs defense.
No, I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see Brock Purdy. I mean, I remember just hearing about what Spagnuolo said about Purdy last year when he was talking about Purdy was dicing up his zone coverage. It makes you feel like he's seen Purdy now, and he has an idea for what he can do against his defense. He's probably just going to start to try to run man coverage against Purdy right at the gates and force the Niners receivers to be able to separate from their corners. And thinking about it, I mean, that's a big spot. That's going to be a big spot but that makes me feel like it's not going to be a very big game for Debo. I think Ayuk, Pearsall plays. It's going to be hard to count on someone in his first ever career game, but so that's kind of tough to hear. It'd be nice if we could have had Pearsall with a couple games under his belt, but Ayuk, maybe Jennings too, I would say are going to be the 2 people to look out for in this game. Maybe Kittle as well, but I think I'd expect a big game out of Ayuk here unless they try to shade coverage towards him and try to take him out of the way and then force the rest of the team to beat him, which would honestly be the pretty smart thing to do. So maybe it's a big game for Jennings and Kittle here.
I mean, unless if they put McDuffie on Ayuk.
Hey, I got Ayuk. I got Ayuk there. We saw what Ayuk did to Snead on that last play of the game. Snead was on the ground.
Okay. Now I'm hyped for the game.
All right, though.